In this video, we're going to demonstrate how theatre floor control would cancel a patient's procedure. So theatre floor control will be responsible for cancelling a patient's procedure on the day of surgery if the patient has attended theatre or if they have not attended theatre. So as long as the patient is on a theatre list, they will be responsible for cancelling that procedure. So this will be done within the schedule and appointment book. You would open the schedule and appointment book, navigate to the books section, double click on bookshelf to open the bookshelf options. We would click on UHCW theatres. You wouldn't need to expand, you would just click on that option and select OK. And all of the UHCW theatre books within the bookshelf are visible. So we would select the appropriate book. Obviously we have Rugby St Cross Macular Theatre, Rugby St Cross Main Theatres, University Hospital Ground Floor Theatres, University Hospital Main Theatres, University Hospital Obstetrics Theatres, Cath Lab, CRM, Interventional Radiology, MRI, outsourced locations for BMI, Nuffield, etc. Ward locations for any procedures completed on the ward, and endoscopy. We would select UH Main Theatres for the case for this patient's case. We can now see any of the theatres available within this section or surgical area. We can use a scroll bar to scroll along the theatres. We can see that within the theatres we have the theatre lists or templates, and if we hover over them we can see more information on them. If we click onto the list we can see the breakdowns of the times, and we can see here in Main Theatre 3 we have a patient scheduled. We can see the patient's name, if it's elective surgery or emergency surgery, the location it's been scheduled to, and it's in a confirmed state, as well as the patient's MRM. So if this patient was to be cancelled on the day of surgery, we would right click on the patient, select actions, and navigate up to the cancel option. Window is going to pop up asking us to confirm cancellation, and it's asking, do we wish to print a letter? We would select no and press OK. It now tells us that there are additional fields within the form that we need to complete, so we say OK, and it will take us to those fields. So the first question here in yellow, which we know is mandatory, is was this cancellation patient initiated? If we say no, that means it was hospital initiated, and the reason for cancel options changed to be hospital cancellations. If it was patient initiated, we would change it to a yes, and the reason for cancel would change to patient initiated reasons. So if you navigate back to no, and then select this drop down, we can see all of the reasons for cancellation that would be from a hospital perspective. We would scroll down to find the appropriate reason. We'll select theatre overran. It will ask us, do we want to remove the patient from the waiting list, which we say no, and it might ask us an RTT status. We'll say 20 clock continues for now. We now have filled out all of the mandatory fields on this section, so we select OK, and the patient now appears to be cancelled. We then need to go into the Power Chart application and into the patient's record, which you will be able to go through by searching for the patient along here, or into perioperative tracker and going into the patient's record. So if we navigate to perioperative tracker, go into the surgical area, we can see our patient who's been marked in red to show that it's been cancelled, and if we double click here it will take us to the patient record. If we go into request care plans within the patient record, which is along the left hand main menu, we should be able to see any procedures that have been requested. We can see here that there's a procedure that's been cancelled which was scheduled. We will need to right click and select copy. This will copy the original order. All of the fields that were entered in that original order, it will copy over. And all we need to do to alter in this field would be return to waiting list. We need to change that from a no to a yes. We then need to select orders for signature, and then sign. We might get a surgical pathway which pops up. This is just to alert us that we need to complete this to trigger a preoperative assessment. If we select the surgical pathway button, it will automatically populate the considering section. If we add a comment or concern, and we can type into the comments box, patient's original surgery was cancelled on the day and has been requested to go back to the patient's waiting list. We would then sign the form. This will then send the form over to the preoperative assessment nurse triage, and then they can look at the comments and see that the patient actually probably already had a pre-op assessment, the surgery was just cancelled, and then they know whether or not they need to do another triage and put the patient in for another preoperative assessment. If we refresh the page here, we can now see that while there was a procedure that was cancelled, there is now a copy of that procedure which is on hold. This will then have dropped into the waiting list for the secretary or scheduler to action.